Hey everyone, welcome to this live stream. If you're watching through live stream, what's up Steph? Welcome if you are watching from my YouTube channel, Helen Christodoulou. What's up? Welcome, thanks for coming in. Today is all about the dark night of the soul. There's much confusion about this subject, so perhaps we can help to clear that up for you just a little bit today. Okay, so we've got some disclosures for you. 7 facts, and let's begin by saying that it actually all began with a mystic. His name was Saint John of the Cross from the 6th century, and he was a great Spanish poet, perhaps considered to be one of the greatest Spanish poets that there are. What's up, Quinic? Thanks for coming in. So there are 3 stages, hi to you, to this mystical inner journey. Hey Adriana, how are you? MX, thank you for coming into this live stream today. I'm glad that you're well. There are 3 stages to our inner journey of the apocalypse, okay, or apocalypsis, which means actually to reveal. That's the true meaning of the word apocalypse, in truth. Hey guys, thanks for rolling in. And so these 3 mystical stages of apocalypsis, or to reveal, is purgation, illumination, and hieros gamos, or sacred union. So these are the 3 stages of the dark night of the soul process. And poor old Saint John of the Cross, he was actually kidnapped and put in prison. And whilst he was imprisoned, this is when he came up with his most amazing poetry. And the Dark Night, which is part of another poem, is what it's originally called, and where we have coined it from. That's where it came from. So it's these 3 stages: purgation, illumination, and then sacred union, or as we often call it, or as I call it, hieros gamos, which means sacred union or sacred wedding. Now, we get into the actual facts of what we might be feeling, or what it is that actually goes on when somebody is having a dark night of the soul. So it usually arises, hey Serdal, from an event or a disaster that creates suffering and detachment. Now, the event or the disaster could be an external one, or it could be an internal one, or it could be a series of events or disasters, or rather the way that we perceive them to be disasters. So this leads to losing the essence of the meaning of life, yeah? So we might be losing the essence to the meaning of our own lives, or we might be losing the meaning of the essence of life in general. Everything just seems obsolete, desperate, without any way out whatsoever. The whole foundation of your concept of life begins to dissolve underneath your very feet. Okay, so the whole foundation, the whole concept of the way that you perceive things, what's up Tony, it begins to crumble and to dissolve. So it is in fact a form of death, or multiple deaths in fact. It's an annihilation of the false ego, or of false identity. This is what happens when we are going through a dark night of the soul. What's up, my darling? What's up, Tonya? Thanks for being here. So it is in fact a multiple death, and it's actually the death of the old self that leads to the birth, in fact, of the true self, okay? And it is followed by the journey of reunion or reconnection through higher states of consciousness that will arise through the awakening experience of the dark night of the soul. So we feel severed from our source, and it doesn't matter what you perceive or what you agree to your source to be, whether it's a connection to your inner self or connection to the higher forces of the universe. However it is that you perceive that, what's happening is that you feel that you are severed from that connection. So it is a journey, as we said right at the beginning, of reunion, and it happens through this inner death experience. So these guys are actually the main facts of what the dark night of the soul actually is. Now, I've experienced this twice in my life. It has actually been confused with depression, but it is not. Hi to you, Abo. It is not depression. It is connected to depression, as all the walls of everything that seems familiar no longer stands anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore. So it's kind of like a wiping of the slate until it's completely clean, to I could even say to a state of ignorance for some people, or a state of innocence, where you feel like you no longer know nothing, you no longer feel the same way as you used to about stuff in your life or life in general. And usually it isn't just about, it may stem from things that happen in your own life, but then it usually expands and becomes about life in general, existential issues, yes, and it could also be to do with issues of the earth, the galaxy, the universe, the multiverse, hey Georgia, you know, the whole shebang. And sometimes we can rip ourselves up about the need to understand, you know, what it is that is going on from the micro to the macro level. And this can result in the dark night of the soul. So it can start off as something very personal and lead to something that is quite transpersonal. And it is through this transpersonal realization that we come to the realization of, once again, of how we actually are completely connected to the primary source of all that is and all of consciousness. So that wraps up our 7 facts, and if you have any questions about that, then we can do that in the transmission to follow. So I'll catch you in 2 ticks. Ciao for now. Thanks for joining.